So you may remember the video I did on my Maytag dishwasher several years ago with the touchpad problems. Well, that one unfortunately bit the dust. So I had to go out and get a different dishwasher. This one is a KitchenAid. This is a KDTE104DSS0. And the problem that I'm having with this thing today is the top rack only comes out this far because it's lost all of its balls. Crazy as that may seem. Anyhow, the ball bearings on this rack over here on this side are all gone. And some plastic pieces have been randomly spilling out down below. And I've just been cleaning them up. And I've kind of been procrastinating against doing this for quite some time. And so as you can see, I have a zip tie holding the rail together right there. That's all that's holding it together. Now this side over here actually seems to be working just fine. So I haven't done anything with it, and it hasn't lost any of its balls yet. But I know that there's a couple of balls down here that have fallen into the filter and got sucked into the drain inadvertently, and I couldn't get them out in time. So I have ordered some replacement parts. Whirlpool Corporation factory certified parts. This one is a W11299785. Track made in CN. I hope that's Canada, not China. And another one that is a W11259786. Another original factory service part. These are the sliders for the upper tray, the right and left sides. So there's both of them together. We're going to go ahead and replace those today. In addition to that, because I did have a problem with this years ago, I had a bad pump motor about a year and a half after I bought this thing, and I did manage to get it covered under warranty. I did change it myself, and Whirlpool did reimburse me for the part cost, which was about $95. I've got the whole hub assembly here with the diverter motor, the switch, everything included, and a brand new pump motor. And remarkably, this whole assembly, at the time I purchased it, was only, I think, about $99. And so this is the part number for the whole hub assembly, pump and motor they call it, W10605057, ordered directly from Whirlpool factory parts, as you can see right there. So I'm going to go ahead and replace both of the rails and replace the whole pump and motor assembly at the same time. So make sure that you unplug the dishwasher from power, and then find your water supply and turn off the hot water supply to the dishwasher. There we go. And then go ahead and pop off this little cover. Hopefully it comes off easily. And underneath it, it might be kind of hard to see, but there is a screw in there. There it is right there. So go ahead and take that screw out as well as the one on the other side. Now it is a possibility that you may actually have screws up in here too that hold your dishwasher in. I don't on this model, only the two on the side. And then down below here, there's going to be two little lock screws you can just pull out. And this is going to allow you to remove the little bottom trim piece right here with the insulation. And there should be a hidden instruction guide right here if you need help troubleshooting, and a wiring diagram hidden under there. Make sure you put it back so you know where it is. So next, before I go ahead and pull the dishwasher out of the cavity, I'm going to go ahead and remove the spray arm. There's just a little locking tab. You just turn it about a quarter turn to the left and it lifts off and out of the way. I'm going to remove the filter, which has ball bearings in it, as you can see right there. And I'm going to remove this little other filter assembly. And then I'm going to grab a shop vac, and I'm going to vacuum all the water out of it that I can get, so when I tip it over, I don't make too much of a mess. Okay, now that everything's loose, I'm just going to go ahead and grab the door and gently try to work the dishwasher out of its cavity. Hung up on the feet. There we go. And more balls are falling out. We'll just roll down into the drain pan. And just going to go ahead and move the insulation blanket out of the way. And I know there's quite a bit of drain hose, so I'm going to feed some more drain hose through the hole. So I'm hoping I don't have to disconnect the water line or the drain hose. Okay, now so to remove the bolts on each side, you can either use an 8mm, which you can see fits pretty good, or you can grab a 5/16, which is almost identical in size. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the single zip tie and probably start by removing the screws on the other side, and the whole basket should come out as one assembly. Okay, the zip tie is cut. I'm just going to leave it there for a moment. And more balls are falling down the drain. And so that side's completely out. And then you can see what's left of the balls over here and why so many of them just fell away. The plastic retainer is just brittle and broken. So next I'll go ahead and just pop the other side out real quickly. All right, done. And I'm going to go ahead and shop vac up all the extra balls that fell out. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this to both sides, but I'm only going to show this one side. I'm just going to go ahead and get in here with a 3M Scotch-Brite sponge and just clean up this gunk. Wash this whole little tub area out where I couldn't normally reach before. And I'll do that to the other side as well and dry it off. Now, in preparation for removing the motor assembly, I'm going to lift up, hopefully I can do it without knocking this over, this tab, and I'm just going to rotate this and pull this hose out of here. There is the diverter assembly. This is what changes it from a top spray to a bottom spray. It rotates on that shaft, and I think mine is actually leaking. Now that that's out, this should actually just unclip from back here somehow. And then the whole upper spray nozzle can be removed, as well as this is what allows you to raise and lower the top basket assembly. And so these are just held in place with these spring-loaded tabs, and so you just have to push over slightly. On the right side, push it farther to the right, on the left side, farther to the left, and then up on the top, much the same, and these things just unclip completely. All right, so here we are, removing the weight from the bottom. This is like a concrete block. I think it helps dampen the noise a little bit. Once again, 5/16 or 8mm. I'm probably going to have to remove the heating element connector, and hopefully they will cooperate. And yes, they do. Okay, so that is the connectors for the heater. It really doesn't matter which way they go back on. And kind of hard to show you this one, but there is a single tab on the back of the motor that you just have to pry out, and then the motor connector will unplug. Okay, so next we'll go ahead and remove the connectors from the diverter assembly. And I don't think you can get these wrong. Ooh, I'm not liking the looks of that. Look at the green crusties up in there. That thing has definitely been leaking. I forgot, years ago, I had to do a repair on this. And I actually had to cut the legs off of the diverter assembly to raise it up a little bit because it was not actually making good contact with the actual diverter disc. So I ended up taking this whole thing loose and chopping off about 1/8 of an inch from this leg And from this one, I had to actually use a zip tie because they just had a clip holding this in place. So hopefully we don't experience that same thing again. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the spring clamp from the drain hose assembly. Squeeze it. And bring it back over here. And then the drain hose can just be pulled off. And there's probably some ball bearings in there. I'll try to vacuum it out. Next, we'll just go ahead and push this single tab back right here. And this should unplug. That is the drain motor connector. And last, we'll go ahead and remove the turbidity sensor, which is just done by turning about 90 degrees. And then the whole thing pulls out. And it's probably a good idea to clean this once it's out. It uses an infrared emitter and detector, as well as I believe it might use either a thermocouple or an RTD to measure the temperature of the water to get accurate wash temperatures. But now, once we go ahead and remove all these wires, this whole assembly should be ready for removal. Just need to loosen these bolts and swing these little tabs out of the way. And once that's done, it's going to be held in until you release these tabs. And then you can lift it up and out through the top of the dishwasher. There we go. All three tabs are swung out of the way. Now I'm going to stand this thing back upright and go ahead and try to get this whole thing out as one assembly. And so I forgot one critical step. Right there is a tab. It'll be very hard to see, but push down on that tab like so. And then rotate the drain motor. To about right there. And then the whole drain motor comes off. And as you can see, there is one ball bearing laying in the drain motor. Now everything should come out. Let's go ahead and flip it back up and see if that holds true. All right, now we should be able to lift this whole thing out of here. Hopefully everything does clear this time. There we go, completely out. Once again, Scotch-Brite sponge. Just gonna go ahead and clean the gunk out of here. And I'm sure there's like a special grease they use, but I'm gonna add some wonderful silicone dielectric grease to the gasket, just to help it slide a little bit better. There we go, all nice and clean. Okay, so like I said, next I'm just gonna add some silicone dielectric grease along this gasket. Just gonna help it go in just a little tiny bit easier. And I don't think it's gonna degrade the gasket performance. Been using it on rubber surfaces for years and years. Okay, silicone dielectric grease all the way around. Let's go ahead and put the new piece in and get it ready to go. So there's a pin right here, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's a slot right there. And the two have to mesh together. And then this should press into place. And then we'll just have to turn those tabs on the bottom and we should be good to go. So if you hear somebody talking, it's just my police scanner. I have it set up in my kitchen here. So before I put the drain motor back in, I just want to go ahead and scrub the O-ring, the gasket on here just a little bit with a toothbrush, just to get any crud off of it. And I'll scrub down in here just in case there's a little ball bearing hiding in there somewhere, because you never know. Shake it off really good. Okay, that is done. Okay, drain motor is back in place. Spring clamp is reinstalled. Now we'll just go ahead and hook up all the connectors. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I'm probably just going to go ahead and give it a little scrub, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a big blob of dielectric grease to help insulate it from the elements, the water. Okay, so because we had a bunch of green crusties in here, and I did go ahead and clean it out, and it looks much, much better. I've got my piercing probe on the lead in question, the green lead right here, the crusty lead, and I'm in the continuity range, and I just want to make sure that I have 0 ohms. So let's go to the ohm range and see what it actually is. 0.4 ohms. I'm totally happy with 0.4, 0.3 ohms. I do believe that that input is actually the switch input and not the motor input. That tells the microprocessor in the unit where the diverter actually is, whether it's in the top position or the lower position, which I've been thinking for a while. It hasn't been working on the upper position for quite some time, so I'm betting that was the problem. But we'll go ahead and just load. I'm going to load every connector up with dielectric grease because I don't know why they wouldn't do this. There's a chance this thing might get wet, and I think it just makes good sense to just insulate all these connectors from air, from moisture, from water, from whatever. So I'm just going to fill this thing up, as well as every other connector in this unit, and then we'll go ahead and plug them all back together. Okay, everything is mounted. The concrete block is installed. All the wires are away. None of them are pinched under the concrete block. And I have filled all the connectors with dielectric grease. Down in here, the heater connectors, and even up in here, the motor, the turbidity sensor right there, as well as the drain motor connector right there. So I think we're about ready to go ahead and tip this over, install the new racks, and give it a test. Okay, well, the internals of the dishwasher are all back together. I went ahead and cleaned the bottom plate, and so it looks like it's brand new right now. Let's go ahead and install the tracks and get this thing back on the road again. So the first track I'm going to install is the left side as viewed from the front of the dishwasher. Part number W11259785. Very easy to remove the old track. Push down on this tab right there. Slide this down. And it'll come right off. So I have the new track somewhat extended here, just to go ahead and wrap it around right there. I'll move this back and out of the way. Just press it down, get it under the tab. When you hear the click, it is installed. Now the right side as viewed from the front of the machine. Once again, part number W11259786. The exact opposite of the other side. Press this tab down. Slide it out, and just disconnect it like that. And it sounds like this one was done just in time because I just moved it a little bit ago and a bunch of balls fell out of it. You can see right in there, some of them are missing, some are missing right there. So yeah, we hit this one absolutely just in time. Slide that around, bring it back this way, and lock it in place. Incidentally, one thing you want to make sure of, that you have not lost any of these rubber O-rings. Those are the gaskets that keep the water inside the tub and doesn't allow it to exit the tub through the screw holes. And judging by the sound of this, I think we caught it just in time. So it actually pumped a ball up into the spray arm. You can hear it as I rotate it. So to remove this spray arm, just grab this little four-cornered tab, rotate it 90 degrees, and lift it off. And there it is. And let's see if we can fish it out with a magnet. Although, I think we're going to get a CAT scan in the process. There it is. Got it out of there. So now to reinstall this, I know you probably could install the rails and then install the rack last, but I think it's easier if you reinstall the rails to the rack first. Just extend the rails. And so what I've done, I've just went ahead and loosely fitted one screw in the top of each one, as you can see right there. And you want to make sure that you have the rails extended when you go ahead and put this thing back together. Now we can go ahead and just put in the rest of the screws, zip them down, and it's going to be ready to go. All right, there it is. Look how nice it slides. That's going to be awesome. I can actually open this thing up all the way once again. Okay, well, I have it back together. I'm running a quick rinse just to check for leaks. Everything sounds good. Kind of hard to see with that big drain hose right in the way. But I'm not seeing any leaks. We'll wait till it actually drains. So from all outward appearances, it's working absolutely perfectly. There it is, switching from the upper to the lower section. So the diverter valve is actually working. I don't think that's been working for quite some time. You can definitely hear a difference, and you heard the switch click as it moved from the upper to the lower section. So let's go ahead and pop it open real quick and see if we can see any water spraying. Oh yeah, definitely doing its job. Anyhow, that's it. The KitchenAid KDTE104DSS0 up and running once again. I certainly hope you enjoyed this video on the repair of the KitchenAid dishwasher. Go ahead and leave me a question, a comment, a concern down below, good or bad. I try to respond to the comments when I have time. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button and like this video. It really does help my channel grow. You can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at NorCal715. You can email me, NorCal715videos@gmail.com. Please be patient. I do have a full-time job, and I do this in my spare time. Remember, with your help, we can try to keep these things out of the landfill, out of the recycle bin, and out of the e-waste facility. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I really do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.